Okay. Hey guys, thank you so much for hopping on here tonight. I'm really excited. Mandy and I have been talking about some different things that we really wanted to go over this week and tonight. So we kind of made a little list of some things that we feel like are super helpful to your business. We're going to talk about tips on enrolling distributors, a little bit about enrolling customers, following up, and sealing the deal. So we're going to be talking about those things, sharing tips, and like why that's important and all of that. Mandy, do you want to start off? I know we were just talking about it. Do you want to talk about some tips on enrolling, specifically distributors? We can talk a little bit about customers, but I feel like the distributor sometimes seems to be like the more challenging thing. So
Yes.
we jump into that.
So, one of my favorite ways, and I feel like it's like one of the most simplest ways, is just like asking after you ask them to host a post. So, like once they put up a post for you, then I go back and I will message them. Hang on, let me pull it up. I just say, like, perfect. Thank you so much. Just leave that up until the end of the month. I just want to throw this out there. You should do the business with me. You can make your own schedule, do it as a side hustle. Business is crazy. I'm looking for some people that want to make an extra $500 a month. Can I send you info? And that a lot of times this like opens the door. Like sometimes, even if they're just like, oh, I don't really know, like right now my life is crazy. If they get like even two people that comment, I'll circle back to those people again, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, like, you already had 2 people interested, like, these could be, like, your customers, like, you could be making off money off of them," and, like, asking them that way. Another way, I like to just go through and look at the people that's interacted on my post and just seeing, like, checking their profile and seeing, like, if they seem like someone, like if their post like their stuff looks good, they're getting interaction, and I just message them and be like, "Hey, like I'm just curious, have you ever thought about doing what I do? I think you'd be amazing." And like I normally leave it like really simple. Most of the time they come back and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" Or, "Oh my gosh, like thank you so much. Like I never would have thought of it." And that's like those are my main two things that I like to do. Can you think of anything else that like is there any different ones that you do?
I really like those things, and I feel like the big takeaway I want people to get from like what you were talking about is not being afraid to share this with people. Like, of course, people will come to us like seeing our posts and things like that, but don't be afraid to go to people and be excited about it and say, "Hey, this might seem super crazy, but I think you'd be good at what I do." Kind of like Mandy said, like I mean, the worst they're going to say is like, no, buzz off. But you're going to come across those people that do say, yeah, can you tell me more? One of the things I like to do is people that have been my customers and love the products, like asking them and just saying, hey, I know you really like the products. Have you ever thought about using them and making some extra money? And some of my best distributors that I've had over the years came from those type of situations because they had no idea it was like an option, but they already use the product so that they already have their own testimony and results and like feedback so they can ease and their favorites so they can easily intertwine that. But then it's just like, well, duh, like why wouldn't I? I'm going to use their products anyways. Why not make money? So bringing up that kind of thing, like having those conversations, when there's someone loves the products, or even if you're not really sure if they like them or not, asking. There's people before that had stopped ordering for whatever reason, and I still asked them like down the road, and they were like, you know what? Actually, I would want to do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Because you never know what's going on in someone's life and what was going on maybe months ago and what's going on now. But just asking the question. I remember years ago, someone said, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And
Yeah.
that's something that stuck with me is like, yeah, that's so true. And you'd be blown away by the more conversations that you have, by the more people that you ask, that you're going to start getting more people that say yes. So if you're someone that feels like, well, gosh, I'm not enrolling anybody, I can't get anybody to join my team or be a distributor with me. Well, let's stop and look at how many people you've actually talked to about your business. And I bet a lot of those times, and I'm saying this about myself too, will look and be like, oh, yeah, like I haven't really told anyone about the business. You know what I mean? And so, aside from like messaging people and talking to people, a simple way to kind of open up that door is by being sure that you're posting about the opportunity too. posting about, what the business is doing for you so far. And it doesn't matter if you've been in for like 2 weeks and you're thinking, well, gosh, I've only been doing it for 2 weeks. It hasn't really done anything for me yet. Okay, well, that's not necessarily true. It maybe has helped you step out of your comfort zone. It's maybe given you a little bit of confidence. It's maybe giving you some like new friends or support system or just something different. Like kind of think outside of the box at first if you feel like you can't share like, oh, I was able to pay, my electric bill or whatever. But also be thinking about things like it helped pay for my gas this week. It helped pay for our groceries. Maybe it helped pay for your kids' lunch money for school or whatever it is. Like start thinking about that. It doesn't have to be something big and extravagant, but just think about what this business is doing. And even if you're like, I joined this business because of I wanted to blank, and so far I've been able to, or I joined It Works because, and say why you joined. Like you don't even have to say what you've already done. Just say the reason that you joined and that you're excited, because that's going to start putting a bug in people's ear of like, like I wonder if I could do that, or she joined because she wanted to, be able to take a vacation. I'd like to take a vacation, and it'll really kind of start getting going. And Mandy and I had talked about it, and I know Courtney was talking with us, and we're gonna kind of come up with like some different like templates and things like that, like that are very basic to help you guys use, but just starting to share like why you're excited about this business, why you're excited about being a part of this is really going to help give that like a boost. So,
Um,
sorry, I
Before we
read.
like jump into our next subject, I was thinking too, another thing is like when you're talking to a customer and like you have them on, especially since we have like our three different kits. But if they're like talking about the hair care stuff, or if you're talking to them about the coffee, or you're talking to them about weight loss, like adding on before you give them like a shopping cart link or before you get their information, be like, hey, I just want to like let you know like there is this option. Do you want to just use the products, or would you like to use the products, lose weight, have healthier hair, drink coffee, whichever one, and make money while you're doing it? Um, I was on a Zoom today, and it was with Lori, and Lori was saying that she heard from somewhere that you only earn what you're thinking about. And I feel like that goes in so many different places, like not just bonuses, but even for me, like if I'm really, really focusing crazy on customers, that's all I enroll. I don't roll any distributors because that's all I'm thinking about. So just like making sure that you're thinking about both, like think about every single distributor, like that's working for you. Like you get to help them make more money. Where a customer, it's like the one time, you know.
Yeah, I love that. And um yeah, because I know that I definitely focus way more on customers than
Mhm.
distributors, and I'm always saying we need to be bringing in more people, and it's silly because it's if I wish that I could shake every single person that I came in contact with to try this and really try it and give it 100% effort, because obviously, it's not for everyone, but I really believe that anybody can do this and whatever that looks like for them. But here I am like 11 years later and I'm like, I can't even imagine like this not being my life. Like it totally changed everything. So, we've got to be excited about that. And even being brand new, like I said, you maybe don't understand yet what this business is going to do for you, but you joined for a reason. Share that reason and don't just share it one time and be done. It's something you want to talk about daily. And when you see us like, and some of us, you guys are in our chat where we have like our task list and you see like an opportunity post. That is just that's to talk about the business, share about the business, even if it's something super simple. But every day, and it doesn't matter if it almost sounds exactly the same every single day. McDonald's is playing the same dang commercial every single day, multiple times a day, and I'm not like annoyed by it. Like it's just is what it is. So it's okay. But you want to put it out there because that's what's going to catch people's attention. That's going to show people that you're serious about it because you're not just mentioning it one time and then you're on to the next thing. Like you're this excited about it, you're this passionate about it because you're bringing it up day after day. And like I said, it can just be something simple or something of why you joined, something why you want to help other people do this. So, those are some great things. And if you guys have more questions, you can put them in the chat. But we want to go on to our next thing because I already went 3 minutes over because I really told Mandy we were going to be like and I knew I'd be the one rattling over. So the next thing we wanted to touch on is, we talked about having conversations with people. Now we want to think about, okay, we've had the conversations, but they didn't enroll. Why? Or what happened? Or what do I do next? We don't just like let those people just go and be like, oh, well, we told them it's not for them. We'll go along. You guys, follow ups. Follow ups are a huge part of this business and your enrollments. If I had like to keep track of how many people I talked to one time and they ordered, it would probably be very small. Like 90, probably 8% of our enrollments come because we follow up, because we check back, because we have that conversation. And so that's something that we need to start getting used to doing is when we talk to a person, like whether it's about products or the business, we call those like on our side of things potentials. So if you're newer, like, and you're going to hear us, those are your potentials. Those are potential customers or distributors. And you're like, sometimes people will make a list of the people that they talk to kind of help make this easier. But you want to like come up with a system so you can be checking back with them. If you have a conversation with somebody today and they kind of fell off the earth, you want to make sure that tomorrow you're going back and following up with them. Maybe you sent them pricing info today and they didn't say anything. Go back tomorrow and just say something simple like, "Hey, I'm working on some orders today. I'd love to help you get started. Do you have a minute? I can help you get set." Something short, simple. "Oh, hey, I'm working on some things today. I'd love to help you get started with your business. I got one more of these $50 or 50% off codes. Would you want to, give this a try?" Something short, simple. If you sent them info and they didn't reply, go back and say, "Hey, would you like me to send you pricing info?" Go back and check back. Send them your link. Ask them, "Hey, were you able to get on my link okay? Did you have questions?" And if you ask them and they don't say anything, go back a couple days later, and if they don't say anything, then I kind of do like a day later, maybe like 2 to 3 days later, and then like a week later, like if they don't respond. You don't take them off your list unless they tell you, "Take me off your list. If you message me again, I'm going to come beat you up." Then maybe you can message them again. But most of the time, people aren't saying something like that. A lot of people just don't respond, mostly because it's like not a good time. And for some reason, people find it easier just to say nothing than to say, "Hey, it's not a good time." And I think it's mostly because we're people and it's just no one likes to have that conversation. But then also, it's a little, you never know how the other person is going to take it. Like, I might tell you that, and then you still might be like, "Oh, well, come on. Are you sure you can't do it?" And it's like, okay, I don't want to go through that. Like, I want to, but if you follow up and they don't say, like, "Leave me alone, I don't want this," or something, you're still on they're still on your list. And I just think of it as good customer service. If you went to look at a couch at a furniture store, yeah, you maybe don't want them breathing down your neck while you're looking. But if someone comes over and says, "Oh, do you see anything you like?" "Oh, not right now. We're going to keep looking." Okay. And say you keep looking for 30 minutes and nobody comes over and checks back with you. What are you going to say? Especially if you found one you liked. You're going to be annoyed and been like, "What the heck? Like, nobody's even came over here. Like, let's just go somewhere else." You know what I mean? But if that person would come back and say, "Hey, did you see anything? Did you have any questions?" You feel like they genuinely care. They genuinely want to help you. And so that's what I try to think about when I'm doing follow-ups is I want these people to feel like I genuinely want to help them because I do. I'm not just here to make a sale. And if I don't get you on my first conversation, I'm out. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm gonna come back. We're gonna touch back, see if things are better now. Maybe that person got busy and distracted, and that's why they didn't message. But I want them to know that I'm still thinking about them, and that's going to help also build that relationship and that trust. Mandy, sorry, I rattled, but you're muted, so don't say anything yet.
Um, no, I like wanted to read this really quick. So I like found this like statistic, and it's 48% of people never follow up. Like they just like tell them the one thing, 48% don't even follow up. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% only make three contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than three contacts, and then that's it. And then it's 2% of people, uh, the 2% of sales are made on the first contact, only 3% on the second contact, 5% on the third, 10 on the fourth, and 80th or 80% on the fifth to the 12th. Like, that's crazy. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so it's the other day I was complaining to Lindsay because I was like, oh my gosh, like I have this lady, she comments on every single post that I put up. And she's like, send me information. Like, yes, I want it. And she's always got like a little hand emoji, like waving. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna message her. And I message her, and then nothing. Like, she doesn't reply back. She's not like, hi, bye, shut up, please, don't talk to me again. The next day I put a post up, she comments again. This went on for like, I don't even know. I feel like 6 months. Like, she'd go through stages where it was like every day she'd comment and then she wouldn't reply. And then it was like 2 days at the end of the month she ordered. And I was like, holy crap, like this lady ordered. But if I would have just been like, oh, she's already commented, I've given information, I'm just not going to reply, like I would have never signed her.
I
And
love
like
that
the same thing
statistics.
like that.
That's like
Yeah.
crazy.
It is, like,
Because
and you don't think about it because sometimes, you're like, "Ugh, well, I already messaged her and, like, she didn't say anything back," but it's like they still are interested, and, like, I think there's so many times that I've contacted people and their kids, like, have their phone, and I don't know if any of you have kids or you have, like, someone that has, a child and you have their, like you give them their phone, and they'll be like, "Oh, I called you 7 times. Oh, sorry. Kristen had my phone and swiped it every single time because it was interrupting their Blippy." So I just think that sometimes people don't open them because their kid has their phone and ignores it, or they open it and maybe like, I don't know, I can't tell you how many times I've opened a message and something happens in my life. So I'm like, oh, I'll get to that and I forget.
4 months later, you're like, oh my gosh, I did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's crazy because if you have that one conversation and like your statistics said like 1% of people, like so many people like won't don't order and it's just how it is on that first contact. So if you're somebody who's sitting there like I don't want to be annoying or I don't want to bug them or they'll come back to me if they're ready, that's not always the case. And like I said, think of it as good customer service. If they tell you no, I don't want the product, leave me alone, take me off your list. Hey, no problem. I will do that. And even something I'll do, say maybe I followed up with someone, I'm just throwing out a number, 5 times, and they didn't say anything. I might come back the next time and be like, hey, I don't want to bug you, but I just want to make sure I help you because I know we talked about your goals before. If you would rather me take you off my list, I can totally do that. And a lot of the times they'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, no, it's just been crazy or things aren't, working out right now. Please keep me in the loop. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not as big of a deal as I feel like we think it can be
Yeah,
sometimes
okay.
when people aren't answering us or we're following up. Like I think people genuinely do enjoy it because it shows that we care and we're like kind of tracking. So
I think too about like even like waitresses. Like, can you imagine if a waitress walked up and was like, "Hey, how are you guys? Do you guys want appetizers?" And you're like, "No." Well, they said they don't want any appetizers, so I'm not going to ask them if they want a refill. I'm sure in the heck not going to ask them if they want dessert at the end of their meal, and I'm not going to ask them when they're done or if they want more bread or if they want anything else. Like, I'm just going to stop. So like, like I feel like even those like sometimes they ask you so much and you're like, "Okay." And they always ask when your mouth's full, but that's beside the point.
very true. Yes. So following up, super important. Like I said, don't let those people go. You have those conversations, you get those potentials. That's why you see us talking about following up. Here's a message to follow up because we know it is so important, you guys. And it's crazy the amount of time that can pass that someone will finally be like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to do it. Let's go. You just never know. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about really quick is sealing the deal. So, you're having the conversation, you're following up, you're doing all the things. What is like the cherry on top? Like what's your go-to move to help seal the deal and really get them to enroll, Mandy?
Um,
Didn't know I
so
could
I feel
do that.
like like a couple things. Like one girl, she messaged me. Okay, so I'll just go back. One of the things I just like message them and just be like, "Hey, what do you think?" Like I feel like it's so simple. You're not really like pressuring. You're just, "What do you think?" Because sometimes, like, I feel like by doing that, it gives them a chance to be like, I'm a little nervous, or, I really want to do this, but I really can't spend $130. Like, I want to do something cheaper. And like giving that opportunity for you to like have a conversation. Another like favorite one is just like, hey, I'm sitting at my computer today. I'm placing orders. Do you want me to place yours? Like really simple. Um, and then, of course, like every single time, I don't care if I messaged you 2 days ago, if we have a promo, if we have a join now, and you're giving a free shake, or a free smoothie, free whatever we're doing, I'm messaging you, even if you said yesterday you don't have money, because like they're all about the girl math right now and how we do weird things to get free stuff and extra things. Like people will spend and buy like 5 more products just to get free shipping. I don't know why. It makes sense in my head. I think it makes sense in other people's heads. I don't know. But like that's like my head is I'm just like, I don't care what you just said. Like I'm gonna message you and ask you if you want to do this. Or if you want that free product if you order or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
Those
like
are
how you mentioned the being short and kind of assertive, like, hey, I'm sitting at my computer right now. Can I help get your order in too? That's something I like to do also, or when I send that follow up, I'll say, hey, I'm working on some orders today. Do you have a minute? I can get some info from you and get you all set. Like, I'm kind of just like, and again, these are follow up messages, not necessarily your initial conversation, but it can be if you have someone that's like, okay, sounds good. Like, don't be afraid to say, awesome. Like, are you ready? I can help you get started right now. Let them like let them know that that's an option. Let them know you're here to help. Something that I do that I feel like truly helps is when I have someone that's ready to order, I always give them the options. Like when they say, how do I order? When they say, okay, I want to order, I always say, okay, great. I can either get your info and get you all set up, or I can text you my link and walk you through it, whichever is easier for you. And I always like to give those options just because some people are going to want us to do it for them. And I know as you come in, you're new, you might be like, oh, I don't want Debbie, to feel like she has to give me her info, or I don't want to make it uncomfortable or whatever. I'm telling you guys, give the options because it's crazy the amount of people that will be like, yes, please, can you do it for me and send me their info? Um, and you're going to have the people that say, oh, can I get the link and do it myself? Absolutely. But
mm-hmm.
always give the option. And here's another thing that I do. If I have someone that I send them my link to, I'm going to give them step by steps on where to go to my site to find that product. If we were talking about the gummies, I'm going to tell them, here's my website link. Click those 3 lines in the upper left-hand corner. Click weight control, and that's where you're going to see the gummies. I'm making sure that when they get on the site, they're having as easy of a time on there as they can, but also I'm going to make sure that I'm following up with them. Like I don't just give my link out and then be like, well, it's in their hands now. Them and God got this and like they'll order when they're ready. No. Like I'm going to follow up with them like probably in like shortly thereafter. If I send them my link, they're like, okay, great, I'm going to get on there. I'm going to follow up with them a couple hours later if they haven't ordered and just say, hey, were you able to get on my site? Did you have any questions? Because I want to make sure that they didn't get on there and they were like, oh, I couldn't find the product, or oh, I didn't know which option to choose. Like, again, I want to make sure this is going as smoothly as possible. If I have the person that's like, I didn't have time to get on it, 3 days ago when I told you I'm really going to try this weekend, I always remind them, no problem. But if you'd like, I can do it for you if it makes it easier. I'm putting in a few others right now. And going back to that, because like so many people will say, yeah, actually, can you just do it for me? Like I just like because I know if I put it in their court, the ball in their court, it's maybe not necessarily a priority to get their order in. You know what I mean? If they can let me do it, I know that I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna get it done like boom, really quick. We're gonna be able to get it going, their order in. It's gonna be to them faster, and they're gonna be able to start working on those goals they already told me that they had. So that's something that I am like really making sure that I do is really just make sure I'm giving those options, letting them know that I can put their order in or they can do it, but I'm going to stay on top of it. And I feel like that does help. When I do my follow up, sometimes I'll even message and say, hey, I got a few spots left for this, this pack or whatever. Would you want one of them? Or, only one day left to get our free shake. Like, those are the kind of things that I'm going to say to really help people get started. Like, oh, I got a few more spots left for our 90-day challenge. Would you want to go ahead and get started? type things. Mandy, anything? Oh, I'll
Um,
say the same kind of thing for our distributors. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off because I remembered. And
Go
especially for
ahead.
distributors, you're talking about someone about the business, just saying like, what do you think? Like, do you want to give this a try? Or we have really exciting things. Just again, touching back and just trying to understand if they're like, well, no, I think I changed my mind. This is the thing I was really wanting to remember. Ask them, like, what's holding them back? Don't be afraid to ask kind of questions you maybe are nervous to hear the answers to, because that's something that I used to do. If I had someone and they weren't like enrolling for whatever reason, but I felt like they were really into it, and I'm like, but I follow up and they're not responding, or they're like, oh, not right now. I'll finally get to the point where I ask, okay, I know you were super excited about trying this. What's holding you back? And hear what they say. And maybe they're going to be like, well, my friend's cousin, sister's mom did something like this a long time ago and she just didn't like it. She said these things don't work. Okay, well, what do you think doesn't work about it? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, like, people are just like, it's the unknown. So that's what makes people nervous, right? And it would be weird if people weren't nervous about this because it's different. It's not normal. It's not something that we're, all doing. However, a lot of times I feel like the information that they have isn't real. And that's the same thing with like the products. If someone tells me, "Oh, no thanks, I tried that before." And I'm like, "Really? You tried the flat like before because it just came out like a month ago. So how did you try it 2 years ago, Debbie?" And then a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, that was a different product." And I'm like, you know what I
From a
mean? But
different
like,
company.
yeah. But like, if I didn't ask questions and say, "Oh," or if they're like, "Oh, I tried the It Works before, it didn't work for me." Well, what did you try? Oh, and that's where I like, oh, I tried, the wraps. I didn't lose any weight. Well, they're not meant for weight loss. So that gives the opportunity to have conversations. So asking questions really, I feel, has helped me to seal the deal because it's going to help debunk some of those things that those ideas people have in their head. But again, it's going to help to show them I'm a real person and I truly want to help. And I'm not just going to say, "Oh, you said no. Okay, bye. Thank you. I'm done with you." Like, I want to have a conversation. And if we come out on the end and you're still like, "It's not for me," that's okay. But we at least had a conversation. You're still my friend on Facebook, and I know that you're still going to be watching me. So, Mandy, anything else?
Um, the only other thing that I was gonna say is I love sending out our shopping cart links. Like, it's on our app. If you need help with it, like, I would love to help. It's really super easy, and it's so nice because they just click your link, and then it's like, "Hey, Amanda made this shopping cart for you. Continue," and you hit continue, and it, like, already pops up. Everything's already in a little package. They type their information in, and they're done.
Yeah, I do like that. I really need to be better about using it because it's like new and I'm like an old dog. So, yes, I do like it because for you guys who don't know about the shopping cart, you can put the items in the cart that they want. So, say you have someone that wants to go to your link and they want 2 bottles of gummies. You can go to the link, you can make a shopping bag, put the 2 bottles of gummies in there, and then send them that link. So then when they go to check out, it's already got it in there. So it does make it super easy, super, like quick.
It's kinda like idiot proof. Like, you just click, 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 type your stuff in, like, for the customer. Like, just because sometimes it's kinda hard to, like, find what they want. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. Sometimes, like, if we put it in a package deal, like, it's cheaper. I've had them like, go through and click the wrong ones, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this is more expensive than, like, what you had it." So just, like, giving them that cart that's like, "Okay, here you go, just check out."
Yeah. And it really is idiot proof. And now we can send those links on Facebook, so it's really convenient.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are kind of like our main topics we want to talk about. So creating those potentials. So having the conversations, asking people if they would be interested in this. Think about people that you think, man, like I think so and so would really be good at this, or I think so and so would enjoy this. Because all you're going to do is just bring it up. It's not like you're like, putting them in a headlock and saying you have to order, or you have to sign up, but just saying like, "Hey, this might be totally off base," and I make it however you would say, and just be like, "You might think this is totally crazy, but I've been doing this business. I think it's something you would enjoy. Would you be open to hearing more info? Or would you like to get more info? Because all you're asking is if they want info. So even if they say, even if they're not interested, but they're like, oh, sure, give it to me. Because I feel like just opening up that door and giving that information, like a lot of people don't even really understand like what you're trying to talk to them about. So at least you're getting that foot in the door and they're going to read it. And you never know who might be like, hey, you know what? No, I don't want to be a part of the business, but I do think some of those products sound like something I would want to try.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so make sure you're having those conversations, making sure people know that this is an option. Share your excitement about what you're doing. And then also make sure you're doing those follow-ups. Do not let those people, if they have not ordered yet, if they have not became part of our team yet, and you talk to them, don't let them just fall off to the wayside. Let them know you're still thinking about them. And then sealing the deal. Like again, just kind of going in with, do you have a minute? I can get you set up now. Or did you have questions? Let me into those kind of type things. Like really just showing that this is like your number one priority. One other thing that I want to mention really quick before we end, because I thought about it earlier, I just thought of it again, is don't prejudge people. Okay. Like you never know who's going to be interested. And I've got to be really honest in saying, they're like, that's why the host to post, I can't even talk, is so awesome because it allows you to get outside of your network. And I know for some people, you might be thinking, people I don't know, why would I want to talk to them? Or why would they be part of this with me? Because you never know who is looking for something different. But I share this because Mandy and I did not know each other before this business. Like we met because of this business, because my husband's uncle told his neighbor, who was Mandy's hairdresser, that we did this and we were successful. Mandy went to her hairdresser saying how she really wanted to not go back to work after having a baby. And she was complaining about all of this, and her hairdresser was like, you need to contact this girl. That girl was me. And Mandy messaged me, literally didn't know each other, like craziness. And now we're like literally best friends. Mandy's really excited about it. You can tell the look on her face. But like it's crazy because if you didn't like we didn't know each other before this business.
I was thinking
And
like how like I feel like I was like such like the like fluke. Like I was like such like the weird person that was just like, "Hey, can you give me information about this?" Okay. All right, I'm signing up. And you're just like, "Wait, what?"
Mhm. Yeah, she like had one conversation with me, wanted the link, signed herself up, and I was like, what? Get the shower ready? Yeah, just go in mine. It's fine. Sorry. Yeah, but that's something I want you guys to think about is you never know who you're gonna come across. And like I
Sometimes
said, oh, go ahead.
sometimes I feel like it's easier for people that only know you as an it works person to sign up with you either to lose weight or to make money than it is sometimes for that person to sign up or enroll with someone that they know everything about them, if that makes sense. Like your sometimes like your family and your friends see you and they're like, "Oh, what is she getting herself into?" Like they just see like this is just her. But then they see like a random person that you have no idea who that is and like it's almost like that's her life. Like that's how, does that make sense? Like am I making sense? I feel like it's so weird to can
Yeah, because I feel like when it's like a family member or someone who's known you for a long time, or they might be like, oh, here goes
yeah.
Dale again. She's on her another like opportunity. Like, why would we believe this one's different? Whereas someone who doesn't know you, they met you from host to post,
Mhm.
is like, oh, dang, like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. They're not prejudging you.
Yeah.
And
And they
so,
like I think too that sometimes like your friends and family might be a little bit more, which I don't know. I mean, I sometimes I think they're more a little bit leery about like maybe telling their like business. Like, I don't want my best friend or this my cousin to know that I want to lose 20 pounds, or I don't want her to know that like I'm struggling with my money and I'm like doing my best. And I don't know, like sometimes I just think it's easier for people to connect with people that they don't know and like match those people. Not saying to like forget about the people that you're in your warm network, but sometimes I just think it's easier to connect with those host to post people.
yeah, and that's not something we had when we first started. So it was like a totally different
No.
world. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just wanted you guys to think about that. And also, like, when you're talking to people, like, and because like I'm telling you, like my husband's uncle like chain smokes cigarettes and drinks Diet Coke, and like you would not think that this person, actually I don't even know, I'm surprised he even listens to anything I say. But the fact that he like talked to his neighbor, which again, my husband's uncle, his neighbor was Mandy's hairdresser, still is her hairdresser, and she still lives where she does. But the fact that he like told his neighbor about this, I was like, what? Like that's crazy to me. And then she told Mandy about it, and I just thought, what universe like are we in? And so even when you're talking to someone that you think, okay, my, Aunt Debbie's not going to be interested, but if you are still excited about this and hopeful, your Aunt Debbie might know somebody who she thinks would be really good at this, and she might circle them back to you. And so just think about that, because if you go to Aunt Debbie and you're like, oh, yeah, I started this business. It really is kind of sucks. I'm not doing that great. Nobody's joining my team. Nobody wants to order. Well, you think Aunt Debbie's going to go to Carol, who really wants to make some extra money, and be like, well, you should go get a hold of Dale. She is just loving this. And, no, she's going to be like, nope. I talked to her last weekend. She's not, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying to not be honest and things like that, but at the same time, like be real with yourself and just think, okay, how serious am I about this? Do I really want to work this as a business and bring people into it? Because if that's so, you need to be positive, you need to be excited, you need to be hopeful, and that's the kind of people you're going to attract. And I just could go on and on, but yes, that's just something I want you guys to think about, is the conversations that you're having with other people. You might not see that person as a potential, but you don't ever know who they know. And so that's always something that I'm thinking about. And like I said, let Mandy and I be an example to that, of you never know who you're going to come across that's going to be like, oh, dang, yeah, I want to be a part of that. So there was something else I wanted to talk about too, but I lost it. So, that's okay. So, I don't know. Hopefully this was helpful, you guys. I know we rattled on. Mandy, is there anything you want to close with? Because we already went 10 minutes over our time. We really had a good plan on what we were going to do.
Um, I guess like does either one of you like have any questions that you want to just like ask before we end it or no?
And they could probably, if you guys think of any, you can message
Yeah.
us. If you're watching the recording of this, you can message us and ask, share any tips. I was trying to think if there was anything else, because I felt like something was on the tip of my tongue when I was talking about being excited, and you never know who you're going to come across. I just don't have it. But thank you guys for hopping on. Hope this was helpful. Hope you got some good tips. I know it was a lot of information, but I feel like it's super important information and stuff that you're going to be able to use over and over again. And yeah, we're just really excited about all the things that are happening. So thank you guys, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.